Phil, Han,
Yeah.
do you ever find anybody to help with being an email list administrator, or we still need to find somebody?
We still need to find somebody. I hadn't really sent out anything yet because it can wait. And I didn't want to, there are plenty of other things we're trying to take care of, I guess, before the end of the year. So I figured I'd ask in January.
Okay, well, if anybody wants to volunteer to be a backup email list administrator, please get a hold of Phil. He would certainly appreciate some help if he's not available. We've run into that problem, obviously, this year with the comp chair, and we're trying to get some backups on other positions also.
What does the position entail?
Yeah.
Basically, if I am not around for any particular reason, you would get copies of emails that come to the server, our email server, that need to be approved or rejected or handled in some manner. There's typically about 2 a week. And commonly, they're going to be emails from outsiders who are trying to, solicit business from us, and we typically reject or discard those. And the other common one is people using, members using another email address other than the one that they have in their account, which again, the server won't accept those. So
Yeah,
that's about it. I'm developing also a instruction book with screenshots. It's fairly easy to do. So I don't think you'll have any trouble with it.
Phil is the king of instruction books. As the former membership coordinator, I can attest.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's great. Well, anybody think about it. If you want to help out, that would be wonderful. And Phil, if he hasn't got somebody ahead of time, will come back at us in January.
And I could use some help with their treasurers. My life has gotten a little bit erratic, and so sometimes I will unexpectedly not be able to come to a board meeting or something. So for me to have some backup on that would be good.
Is that only on rainy days when you're dancing naked in the
Yeah,
backyard?
right. But for the cold that I developed after.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, if anybody wants to help out Cheryl with the books as a backup, please get a hold of her. All right, we have the election of officers. I didn't get any nominations from the field. However, we have had nominations for President, Joel Brown, and we had Secretary Elizabeth Springs. Is Elizabeth here? Did she come tonight?
Not that.
Okay, so to make this easy, I think what we did the last time was we just showed a group of raised hands. We want to vote on giving Joel the pleasure of being our next president. Show of hands, aye.
Absolutely.
Aye.
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 Kind of looks like everybody
Aye.
got their hand up. All right, Joel.
Are you sure you want to
Congratulations.
do this, Joel?
Ronnie, don't ask.
Thank you, Joel.
Congratulations, Joel.
All I can say, I hope I do a good job, but I'll be.
Oh,
well,
you will.
You'll be fabulous.
You're a
And Mike,
natural.
you've been fabulous,
Well,
Plus,
thanks.
you've got a lot of backup presidents around.
Yeah.
right?
Including one live-in,
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
She's already my boss.
Now, for this role, she's just a resource.
Next, we need to vote in our next nominee, which was Elizabeth Springs, to take over from Chris, who is not going to be doing secretary next year. Chris has done a great job. I've really enjoyed receiving the thorough minutes that she's been doing for us. So thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris.
All right,
Thank
show of
you,
hands,
Chris.
all in favor of Elizabeth Springs as the next secretary.
Yes.
Does I see everybody? Come on. All right, looks like she passed.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Elizabeth Springs.
Yeah.
Yay.
Need not be present to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Vice President
Golden
and
scores.
treasurer as well.
Okay. I got an email from Bill Stacy. Bill, you want to talk about this request from N4C about virtual programs? Do you want to say anything about that, or do you want to just send something
Before
out?
we go on to that, Mike,
Yeah.
the changing of the categories of our classifications to match N4C. That
Yes.
vote was not announced.
Yes, I did that first thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting older by the minute.
Yeah, it passed unanimously.
Got it.
Okay. Bill, do you have anything about the N4C thing, or should we just send out something? How do you want to handle it?
Well, I just sent out something, but just to reiterate, the N4C has money and they are interested in helping the clubs. And so
Money.
one of the ideas that came up and was discussed for weeks and weeks and voted on was that the N4C could provide speakers on different topics, Zoom presentations to the clubs. These would be presentations by people who have some expertise and charge money for their services, and the N4C would cover the costs for us. So the question they have now is, what sort of presentations would we be interested in seeing? And so I sent the email out. It gives some examples, but everything from technical photography issues to more broad art-related composition topics. Everything's wide open. And they're looking for an answer from us, which I'll send back to them. If you send me a note saying the sort of presentations you would be interested in seeing, I'll make sure that gets back to them.
Did they give you a list of what programs that they feel comfortable giving?
At this point, it's wide open. They're interested in what we're interested in, and then they'll go look for it and pick out the best speakers they can find. There's a two-person committee right now that will drive this.
Bill, you may have already done this, I missed it, but what about sending something out that has, to the membership, that has a few ideas, like, well, just general ideas, like, do you want to learn more about programs? Do you want to learn more about camera function, blah, 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 along that line, just to tell where the general interest of the club is?
Yeah, it's wide open. The email I sent out today to the club is a summary of their suggestions, and they go through a dozen different possibilities. But I wouldn't be limited to that. If there's a particular topic you think you'd be interested in, let's make sure we get that message to them. We're in the early stages, so now's a good time to indicate our interest.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Before we get going, Tricia, is she back from dinner? No?
I'm here, I'm just eating.
Okay. Did you want to say a quick thing about the field trips before we start looking at them? And then I have one last thing I want to say.
The only thing is that there's one field trip going on right now till the end of November for the Lodi Sandhill Crane viewings, which are, socially distanced, go two-person car, take care of yourselves, be safe to go, but it's happening all through the month of November, and it'll count toward next year's field trips. That's it.
Good. All right, thank you. All right, before we get started, I have to thank some people because we wouldn't be able to do this tonight if it wasn't for Steve Munch, Bill Stacy, Nancy Goodenough, and I think Steve Gibbs helped out too, and Joel Brown. So kudos to these guys for putting this together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
We're great.
When I was on vacation, I tried to check my email when I could in between being busy, and I'd see all of a sudden more emails, and I'd see, oh, we're having a Zoom meeting at 2. No, I can't make it 2:30. No, I can do it at 4. And I just said, well, I'm going out on a ferry ride. So these guys really did a lot of work, and I certainly appreciate it. And thank you from all of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bill, do you want to get started with this, or Steve, how do you want to do it?
Steve, do you want to start with the field trip images?
Let me bring up the screen.
I'll mention the fact that this is different from previous years where we always voted right in during the meeting. We can't do that easily with Zoom, and so it's even better because now you can go online to the website where you normally would submit images, sign in, and then there are some very brief instructions that I've sent out today. I can show them later, maybe after this, I can show them on the screen. But it's very easy to go in and vote for your 3 images that you like the best. You give them either 5 stars, 4 stars, or 3 stars, depending on whether they're first, second, or third. You can only pick 3 images to vote on, and all of that will get tallied up through the magic of the software that Steve has mastered, and then we'll get the winner. So that'll be announced at a later date.
Are the images available on that site when we look it up?
Yes, it's much easier, quite frankly, because when you go online,
You remember
you can see
them.
the screen, the image is full screen. And spend
Wow,
you spend
okay,
a
great.
week looking at them if you like. No rush.
Right, excellent. Steve,
Okay. And is the field trips image up there?
Yes.
Yep. Ignore the date. And let's see if I can get this going. Okay, there are 46 images.
Good job.
And shall I just do a preview and then we can go slower for a second pass?
I'd suggest go leisurely through the whole
Yeah.
series, because
Yeah.
everyone will be able to go in and look at these images in much more time later. So you don't have to remember exactly which one you like. Right?
I think I know which one this was from.
From hell. A closer look. Mid-game. Stealthy approach. Looking up. Little fish in a big pond. Aphid appetite.
Oh.
Saint Benita Lighthouse. Pet Ventosa flower. My grandfather's fishing flies. Tabletop June. Spend an hour with a flower. Peace lily ×4. Photographic distortion. Iris's intentional camera movement. Aboriginal me art reimagined and Japanese wood postcard of an Aboriginal celebrating Japanese citizenship, 1972. Fork-tailed bush katydid. Scuderia furcata, macro July. Radiation mask. Lake Sonoma Steelhead Festival. Just a moment. Somebody's in the waiting room.
I'll get it.
I don't recognize the name.
Julian.
It's not someone who contacted me. Does
Oh,
anyone
okay.
know Julian?
No.
No.
Anyone? I don't know whether to let the person in if I don't know them and haven't been contacted.
Yeah, if they didn't send you an email already.
No, they didn't send a message.
Okay. Lake Sonoma Steelhead Festival. Steelhead hanging out in the stream with no social distancing. Pickled in a jar. Gary.
Ooh.
Fun with books.
Ooh.
Wine buddy.
Oh,
Centerfold. Honeybee working the pole. At the Santa Rosa Tattoo Festival. Shoot from home. Teasel Blossom. Brazil Road, Sonoma. Bad seed. The chosen one. Still life. June 20 to 21st. Heading upstream, Point Bonita, the Santa Rosa 2020 Tattoo Festival. Welcome home. Tabletop shots, still life with Japanese teapot.
Beauty. Oh, can we comment?
Eat me. The newest pod in the Audrey 2 family awakened. Toys from my 60s childhood. Tabletop June. Macro Strawberry, July 18th.
Beautiful.
Spent an hour with a flower. Honeybee looking up to see if I've left yet. On Pan Squash Flower. Dancing Tree Trunks. How 2020 feels. Recreate Art. Woman Dark Hat by Alex Katz. Ladybug. Point Bonita Lighthouse, Marin County, January 2020. Point Bonita Lighthouse Trip, view of rough water. Marigold in ice. Ballpoint pen, macro July.
Oh. Wow.
Finishing touch. Marin Civic Center. Marin Headland State Park. Okay. Now, am I going to go through it again, or are we going to move forward?
I think we could see them online.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
it was great fun to see them though.
Great job, man.
Very
Great job,
nice.
everybody.
Wonderful job.
Yeah, really.
So now we're ready for the creative top 5. The top 5 images from end of year, these are gathered from all the monthly winners. The judges have already voted. These are in random order and going to be going through all the categories and all the levels. Here we go. Sunset ICM. Troubled Dream of Him, Collage 2020. Good Night Moon, Good Night Comet. In the Presence of the Dragon. Ammonites. Creative Top 5A.
That last one went by really quickly.
Yeah,
Oh.
Steve, you were on a new title and I hadn't even seen the picture yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm
now
sorry, I couldn't follow that.
slow
Same
down
with
a bit.
I had the same problem with the field trip. I wasn't seeing it as the title.
They've
Just
got a
slow-
slow
Slow
connection.
down a little bit.
Yeah, for the slow connection. So maybe just slower,
Yeah.
A little slower?
slower pace, yes.
Okay.
I remember this one.
That was great.
Alfred Hitchcock Goes to Church. Interstellar. What is a tree to a bird? Midnight at Zion. The Watcher.
Mm.
Double A. Swan Alley. Pedestrian Bridge twice. Reverie. A Moonlit Night in the Vineyard. American Alley, Petaluma, California. Creative Masters. Midsummer's Dream. Passion Obscured, Two Men Kissing. Van Home. The Beetle and the Rose, as Renaissance era still life and interpretation. What Nature Looks Like After Quarantine. Journalism B. Sonoma County Fair. Paid attendance has steadily dropped from a 2013 peak. The 2017 fire and recent mass shootings at venues like the Gilroy Garlic Festival all contribute. However, how long can simplicity in entertainment provided by merry-go-rounds compete with iPhone pictures, texting, and modern entertainment? Looking down the midway of the Sonoma County Fair, the warm August nights brought 125,000 county residents in 2019 out to enjoy the Ferris wheels, twirly rides, and food. When will attendance drop so low that the music stops? Ferris wheels grind to a halt, and summer evenings of simple innocence are an American memory. West Coast Diesel Annual Tractor Pull. The event is held annually at Sonoma County Fairgrounds in September. Custom-made vehicles range from barn-built to Cal Poly's Mustang Legacy Shun. The event requires tractors and trucks pull a 65,000-pound drag sled as far as possible. Similarity to a broad jump competition for engines is accurate. The event started in 1925, attracts audiences from farm and ranch communities all over California and USA. This is Megan Olson prepping Savage Chick from Denair, California. Like all American sports, the goal is to experience the thrill of victory and avoid the agony of defeat, all while having a rip-roaring good time. Wounded Veterans Polo Match. Watching charging horses and breakneck collisions over a ball is a fun way to spend an afternoon, especially for a charity such as the Wounded Veterans Fund. The chase is on. One can only marvel at the sublime grace of horses in full stride. The California Cowgirls rodeo drill team from Wilton, California, performed at intermission. A dazzling display of horsewomanship, color, and flag pageantry. Historically, polo matches are known for women's hat contests. It was evident that Les Grands Chapeaux and Bubbly were the order of the day for a great cause. America's Cup World Series 2012. Held October 2012 in San Francisco Bay were trials for 34th America's Cup 2013. 11 teams sailed in match and fleet races on identical 44-foot catamarans dubbed AC-45. Artemis versus Luna Rossa. Speed for an AC-45 is 35 miles an hour. Unequal depth of port and starboard dagger boards at midship allow boats to turn on a pitcher's mound. Riding the rail keeps AC 45 flat, rounding a turn. Danger of pitch pulling, going stern over low dipping bow, is real, as one can see on the lead AC 45. Match racing AC 45s is exciting. Fleet racing is downright crazy. Team Korea should not be heading towards Luna Rossa. Wind speeds this day were at 23 miles an hour. Berkeley eclectic and vibrant. Berkeley continues to export vibrance in free expression, art, and science. Students from all over bring bright minds as well as world-class food styles to the town. Mirror in Berkeley espresso. Shattuck-Hearst reflects 2020 New Age philosophy and politics served with an eclectic menu to citizens who still wear jaunty berets. The rotunda of Berkeley City College has wall-high murals recalling Berkeley from when larger-than-life humans lit the fire for a movement larger than America. At its core, Berkeley remains a place serving students, providing learning and quiet spaces for young people to ponder what's next in an ever faster changing world. Journalism A. Pilot boat transports an experienced mariner to a cargo ship. The pilot then navigates the cargo ship safely through the hazardous waterway to its destination. The cargo ship is navigated from Port Aransas to Corpus Christi, Texas, via the channel. The pilot boat returns later to retrieve the pilot from the ship on its way back to sea. Lavender Harvest, typically done in late spring or early summer. A 3-person team allows harvesters to quickly cut each plant with one swath. The use of a chainsaw in harvesting provides a quick, efficient way to cut individual plants. After cutting the plants, the lavender bundles are placed on top of the harvested lavender plant. Harvesters then bring the lavender bundles into the barn and dry for future use in making products. Lavender. At a Sonoma County winery, lavender harvest is accomplished with 3 people. 2 separate each plant into halves, and the 3rd person cuts it at the base with a small chainsaw. The gathered lavender is transported from the field using a small truck. Here the foreman carries it into the barn. An employee, looking through a barn window, gathers the lavender into small bundles, preparing it for hanging to dry. Finished lavender products, including essential oils, sprays, and lotions, are on display in the winery's retail room. Doggy trash and fashion. Rosie the Dhaka Chihuahua dons recycled items, creating canine haute couture to compete in Sonoma's 2019 Doggy Trash and Fashion show. This stylish canine competitor patiently awaits her turn on the runway. You can tell she's done this before. She's self-assured and ready to go. As tension builds, the chic canine contestant gets some last-minute love and confidence building from her young humans. It's showtime, folks, and our stylish canine competitor, assisted by her hopeful human, finally gets to hit the runway and grabs the prize. Glacier growth. In January 1978, Mount Shasta's glaciers were masked by snow that persisted most of the year. Recent studies show annual glacier growth on Shasta even while the climate warms. This photo taken in November 2019 reveals Shasta's glaciers after several years of drought and regional wildfires, additional factors that may reverse the trend of growth. Journalism AA. America's Sandbox. Great Sand Dunes of Colorado become a national park in 2004. Being isolated, it attracts many visitors for many reasons. They are the tallest dunes in the U.S. at 750 feet. Many just want to get to the top. 750 feet doesn't sound like much, but at nearly 9,000 feet of elevation, hiking up steep dunes through the soft sand is quite challenging. Thrill seekers carry sand sleds.
Oh my God, this is boring.
Excuse us.
Hmm?
Should we turn off comments?
I'm sorry.
Should we mute everybody?
Good idea.
Something just came through. So Steve, can you hear that?
Yeah. Okay. Thrill seekers carry sand sleds and sandboards up the steep dunes and slide down. Steep slopes are the result of unique weather patterns of opposing wind direction. For some people, fancy equipment and geological knowledge is not needed for fun. National park status protects this fragile and vulnerable playground for everyone. Silent March. On June 13th, upwards of 300 people gathered on the lawn of Santa Rosa Junior College to hear speakers and march in solidarity against police brutality in a Black Lives Matter protest in Santa Rosa. The marchers took over Mendocino Avenue and made their way north to the Sheriff's Department admin building on Ventura Avenue. There was some chanting, but most protesters let their signs convey their frustrations. Under blue skies with the state flag and Old Glory flying at half-mast, the marchers all took a knee in protest of racial inequality. Mongolian wrestling. In the Nadam competition, there are no weight divisions. It is possible for a wrestler to face an opponent twice his size. Smaller wrestlers try to end the match quickly before they can be overpowered. There is no time limit. The match ends when one of the wrestlers is forced to touch his knee, back, or elbow to the ground. The winner receives a hat with medal. According to legend, the bare-chested attire is necessary to prevent women from competing disguised as men. Go be closer.
There he is.
Bee swarm. Aaron Gray and Susan Simmons of the Sonoma County Beekeepers Association have rushed to a Santa Rosa residence to gently transfer a swarm of honeybees into a cardboard box. At Sierra Gardens, Claudine and Bob Lockjaw assemble a new hive box as their Verling brings the bees. Coaxing bees to move requires a light touch. Beekeepers have a supply of large feathers on hand for just that purpose. Claudine signals a successful transfer. At Sierra Gardens, all proceeds from selling produce and honey go to scholarships for underserved Sonoma County youth. Dining hall at the Sikh temple Bangla Sahib. You are welcome regardless of religion or social status, as long as your head is covered and your feet are bare. The meal is free. The kitchen is designed for volume output. The main dish is dal, a stew of lentils, peas, and beans that is simmered in copper cauldrons.
Steve, you're a little out of sync. You're reading while before the pictures come up.
Ah, okay.
Gotcha.
So
Just slow down a little.
Display pause after displaying the pictures. Okay. A volunteer stirs a potato curry side dish in a large walk. Anyone, sick or non-sick, can become a volunteer. Chapati bread from flour to finished product. The food kitchen serves thousands of meals a day, all day long, 6 days a week. Delhi, India. Journalism Masters. Protests. Seattle suburb of Bellevue was hit hard by looting at the start of the 2020 protests. Community members came out to help with the cleanup. Much of the shopping district was damaged, such as this Verizon store. Hundreds joined in the cleanup effort, cleaning graffiti and broken glass from the normally lovely streets. These volunteers scrubbed off graffiti on Nordstrom's wall. The pandemic and riots have made 2020 an infamous year, and it isn't over yet. The Santa Rosa 2020 Tattoo Festival. The South and North fight at Duncan Mills Civil War days. The war ended 155 years ago, though many today are still fighting for the justice it promised. Future reenactments may reflect today's changes. CHAP. Roadblocks restricted access to the Seattle area known as Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, or CHOP, after riots erupted in May and June 2020 protesting the death of George Floyd. Originally erected by police to protect the East Precinct, concrete barricades became memorials and protest signs after the area was occupied by protesters on June 6, 2020. After police boarded up and left the East Precinct on June 8th, protesters declared the 6-block area of CHOP a police-free zone. Wall art memorialized the death of George Floyd when Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck for almost 9 minutes. Protest art was preserved when CHOP was dismantled by the police July 1st. The slum of Kibera is one of the largest in the world, with population estimate of up to 1 million inhabitants. Crime, extreme poverty, and sanitation are huge issues. Nairobi, Kenya. Monochrome B. White Rose. Pied Crow, Corvus albus, sharing lunch. Coming out of the dark. Winter afternoon sunlight in the Central Valley. California Aqueduct Vista Point, Patterson, California, USA. Baroque Botanical. Monochrome A. To the Bodega Bay Church, infrared. Born in Captivity, the Audubon Zoo. Mayan Pride. Portrait of a Flamingo. Beautiful in black and white. Monochrome doubly. Grandma and grandson play by the water's edge. A muddy cow after the storm. At the tipping point, King of the Hammers Off-Road Race 2020. Morning coffee. Silver Falls. Monochrome Masters. Street Scene, Mexico City. Worth the effort. The Chess Game. Faith Abandoned. Portal. Nature Bee. Comet EOYs above Knight's Valley. The brownish tail is mineral dust shed by the comet as it travels in its orbit. The bluish tail is ionized gas following the solar wind outward from the sun. Underside of the golden orb web spider, Nephila philippes. Found in primary and secondary forests, this one was spotted repairing its web in Java, Indonesia. Greater flamingo, Phaeocopterus roseus, Walvis Bay, Namibia. There are 4,000 species of wild bees in North America. This is a wild bee from Bees and Blooms in Santa Rosa. The beauty of interdependence. Artichoke fly. Nature A. Acorn woodpecker, Melanopes formicivorus. This Northern California woodpecker drills closely spaced holes into dead, soft oak tree branches to store harvested acorns for later consumption. Practice landing. Juvenile osprey, Pandion heliaetus. Practice flying to and from the nest prepares the juvenile to fish for itself. The grizzly bear, Ursus arctos horribilis. Although grizzlies are of the order Carnivora and have the digestive system of carnivores, their diets consist of both plant and animals. Fire on Horsetail Falls. Prairie bandits, cedar waxwings, Bombacilla cedrorum, are small birds of 7-inch height with smooth feathers, yellow at their tail tips and underside, red wax-like dots on wings, and black nests.
Come over here.
Voracious feeders, cedar waxwings are considered pests in agricultural areas. When not mating, these birds flock in tight groupings of up to 200 birds. As the berries on a tree or bush dwindle in number, the birds scrap for the last available food in a chaotic feeding frenzy. This flock of approximately 150 hungry birds removed every berry from this 25-foot tall blue elderberry tree in less than 2 hours, then disappeared. Nature AA. A garden snail, Cornu aspersum, traverses the spines of the Aloe nobilis cactus with impunity on a thin layer of mucus. Two upper tentacles, eye stalks, and two smaller olfactory ones guide the way. Big feet and long toes help the gray-headed swamp hen, Porphyrio poliocephalus, walk across marshes dense with floating plants. Bharatpur, India. Elk in winter. Winter presents challenges to elk, and finding enough food is high on the list. This bull must dig through snow to get to grasses. Honing fighting skills is important for defense against predators, as well as competing for mates later in the year. Sometimes the struggle is unsuccessful, at least from the point of view of the elk. Predators and scavengers have a different perspective. A sand wasp pauses at a cosmos flower while transporting a housefly carcass to the nest for the larvae. Genus.
One Zoom is over, the other one is still going on. But it's nice because I took myself off.
Bob,
I'm going to have a cup of tea, but I want to keep this thing on.
Bob, turn off your recording.
See what's coming up. Do you want anything?
No.
For some reason, and I have no idea why, I don't know if it's this laptop computer, how I access Zoom, but my picture, when they identify who's in the picture, it says Linda Allwood.
Can you mute
no idea.
everybody?
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, they should be.
I got annoyed at that ACLU. They said, why don't you, everyone will say, why don't you introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and the pronouns you want.
Bob Allwood, we can hear you.
No.
They started off the whole big session saying, this is Northern California. Every one of us here is.
Bill or Jennifer, can you
Yeah, I can't find him
The Indians.
on the
We're
screen.
here before. And
No.
now
Mute
we
everybody.
show the map and you want to find out more about.
It's under Linda Alwitt.
Well, if there's a reason for it.
Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Got it.
There we go.
Thank you.
Well, it's all I can do is, yeah, there we go. That should do it.
Phew.
All set?
Yep.
Yep.
Nice.
Townsend warblers, Setophaga townsendi. Nest and breed in the Pacific Northwest and migrate in the fall to California and Mexico. For the most part, they eat insects, but they also eat ripe fruit when available, like this Fuyu persimmon in the Sonoma Valley. Nature masters. Plains zebra, E. quagga, has excellent eyesight, being able to see well day or night. Stripe patterns and intensity vary across species. Leopards average a weight of 130 pounds, but can drag kills weighing 275 pounds of trees for safekeeping from other animals. This leopard feeds on a wildebeest, Kenya, Panthera pardus. Sea stars cling to the rocks at low tide, feeding on shells, anemones, and other organisms. Pinnacle Gulch, Sonoma Coast. Crab spider, aka flower spider, Macaphysa spp, injects venom, paralyzing a honeybee on apple tree. Crab spiders have adapted to garden environments, ready to grab passing garden insects. 100mm macro. Baboon baby. Infants ride against the mother's stomach or chest by hanging onto her fur for the first several weeks. Infants have a strong grip at birth. Genus Papio, Kenya. After a few weeks, young baboons begin to ride on their mother's back. Mothers have been observed carrying dead offspring up to 10 days. Scientists suggest this is due to strong maternal bonding rather than being unaware a baby is dead. Pictorial B. Hongo, mushroom. Curiously shaped landform in Val de la Luna, La Jolla province, Argentina. Door, forgotten. Dahlia, at golden hour. Solar eclipse, Huachoco National Forest above Prineville, Oregon. Southern Milky Way above Deble, Sosufle, Namibia. Pictorial A. Laguna de Santa Rosa, fog lifting. River to the coast, sunset. The Granddad. Hunting the Laguna de Santa Rosa. Steadfast. Pictorial AA. Heading into town. A winter's morning at Valley View, Yosemite National Park. Old friends waiting for spring. Daybreak, Sea of Cortez. Dawn at Boulder Creek Lake, Trinity Alps, California. Pictorial Masters. All people live in God's light, Him. Christmas Mass, Ethiopia. Ants on showy milkweed bloom. Alley, Zanzibar, 2019. Time will reflect, Varanasi, India. Travel, B. Solitaire, Namibia. Hawaii Na Picchu and Central Plaza at Machu Picchu. Hawaii Na Picchu translated as Young Peak in Quechua looms 865 feet above the Central Plaza of Machu Picchu, elevation 7,970, Peru. Imba woman with yellow canteen, Kunene region, northwestern Namibia. Our pack trip in the Altai Mountains, Mongolia. Abandoned farm home, Palouse region of southeastern Washington state, USA. Travel A. A crisp fall morning view from the historic Many Glacier Hotel, Glacier National Park, Montana. Golden evening. Venice morning. Headwater Basin.
Getting out of sync.
Badwater Basin is an endorheic basin in Death Valley National Park and is the lowest point in North America at 282 feet below sea level. Prince of Wales Hotel, Alberta. Experience the British royal tradition of high tea and enjoy a magnificent view of Waterton Lake and the Rocky Mountains. Travel AA.
Okay, wait a minute.
The Guindays funicular climbs the steep hill behind the Ribeira neighborhood in Porto, Portugal. At 10,000 feet, the Sliding Sands Trail descends 2,400 feet to the floor of the Haleakala crater and is often shrouded in mist and clouds. Maui, Hawaii. A lone hiker descends through the labyrinth of canyons on the Golden Canyon Trail, Death Valley National Park, California. Camel Train. An Australian group ventures into the Sahara Dunes, eastern Morocco. The village of Monsanto, Portugal, is built on a mountain strewn with huge granite boulders. The locals make use of them by walling up the space between them to form walls for their houses. Travel Masters. Fog envelops San Francisco, California. A Taiwanese street seller selling candied plums on a busy street in Tamsui, north of Taipei City. Candied plums are a favorite snack in Taiwan. Spinning Fate at the Prayer Wheels, Bhutan. Foggy morning on the Holy Ganges River in Varanasi, India. In small villages in remote rural Kenya, most Samburu women still dress in a traditional manner. Their style of earrings, beadwork, and clothing mark them as married women. Okay,
Take a quick break.
yes, 5 to 10 minutes, please. I need the beginning, and you can all notice it as we go through. I'm not going to point any fingers, but one thing to remember for the future, spell check your words and your grammar, because there are some typos in this, and it detracts from your portfolio.
And is it too late to make changes at this point? Not that I'm worried.
So anyway,
Steve, is it too late to make changes at this point?
Actually, I think you may be able to go in and edit titles.
Okay.
Because N4C, all the images link back to your library. They don't get a full separate copy of things. Everything links back to what's in your library. So I believe you can make the edits. If you need any help or have a problem, get a hold of one of us. So anyway,
Tricia, be sure to hit the button Save Changes.
Yes.
so anyway, what I will do is I will go through the first portfolio. I will read the overview. I will stop on the overview picture for a little bit, and then I will go through each of the images, go back to the beginning of the portfolio, and open it up for discussion. We'll play it by ear, and get my attention, and I can move forward and backwards through the images in the portfolio. So if we want to compare things between two of the images, etc. And by consensus, I guess, when we've had enough on one portfolio, we'll go on to the next. There are, 8 portfolios?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. We should probably spend between 5 and 10 minutes on each portfolio. That will take up about an hour's time. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I have to switch. One moment. The beauty of interdependence. There is an interdependence between plants and their pollinators. Without each other, neither can exist. This relationship has continued for millions of years. This is scientific fact. On a different level, this interdependence forms a beauty that few deeply see. It is world in itself. Light and camera allows the capture, the appreciation, and the sharing of this beauty. Overview image, space between overview and image. Diptera species. Varieties B. Megachile B. Anis swallowtail. Longhorned bee. Skipper. Bombilius fly. Artichoke fly. Hyleus bee.
Steve, do we get to know who did these, or is it a secret?
I can reveal it. I have it in front of me.
I don't know what the.
I won't mind.
I think it matters. Since we're not competing directly against each other, it's a pool at N4C.
Right.
So I don't see any, unless somebody else thinks.
No, I
Does the
think these are
maker
fine.
mind?
Well,
I don't mind.
I think it'd be great. And if the person feels like discussing it, that would be wonderful.
Okay, this is Mark Hollinger.
Wow.
Nice job, Mark.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Very good.
Beautiful.
One point of grammar, Mark, it is a world in itself in your statement of intent.
Yeah.
But be sure that the extra space,
It's so funny. I read it so many times. I have one other thing I caught and I didn't change because I thought I'd get by with it. So I'll change 2 things on it. I think I should have said light and camera allow.
and check once you finish that you end up still at 75 characters.
Thank you. I appreciate any advice on this, including the photos. So I'm new at this, so
And you'll
thank
be
you.
adding one and taking one away.
Yeah,
later.
you should be
Yeah.
fine.
Perfect.
Statement
Thank
of
you very much.
no spaces in that. The title. Statement of
Yes.
intent. Yeah, put spaces in there.
Oh, okay.
Of space intent.
I thought the directions said to do it that way.
Yeah, the directions actually said not to put any spaces in.
Yeah, but you can because it's a title and I saw that they were, and it's probably better that.
The example had spaces.
Because there were
Okay, so
examples.
all of you are suggesting in the title that I added 1 extra space between each word?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I so much appreciate all the advice. Anything else anybody sees?
Yeah, I don't know if someone commented on the sentence near the end. It is a world in itself.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll fix that.
And that adds a word.
May I
And
make a
Mark had a
comment?
question.
Your pictures are tack
Hey,
sharp.
Joel, Martin
Yeah,
had asked if he
gorgeous.
could make a comment.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, my comment is that this is about interdependence between the plant and the pollinator. And the pollinators are all named, but the plants are not.
Oh,
Oh.
Huh.
Good thought.
that's
Good point.
interesting.
Good
What
point.
would you all advise on that? That's a good point. I don't
Well-
know that I'll know all these flowers, but I can.
I
But
see
the-
chocolate cosmos.
I think changing the title to be something different, since it's already been the due date. I see fixing little things is okay, but I'm not sure about changing something as big as that. I don't know what others might think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Mark, I think because the flowers, one pollinator can visit many different kinds of flowers, that it's not particularly necessary to identify each kind of flower.
Okay. So I've heard different things. Again, I really appreciate it. I'll take any advice. Would you all, most of you, advise that I not try to change each photo title to include the flower then?
My personal view is that goes against the concept of the end of the competition, fixing things like a word missing or a misspelling or spaces.
Right.
Okay.
That to me seems okay. Now, some people might even disagree with that, but I think changing it, especially with other people's input, it should have been done before the.
Okay. I
Before it was.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's too substantive a change, too far after the deadline, I think.
Okay, that's fair. I'll fix a couple of typos that I know of and
Which is why
finalize it.
next year, because the closing date is a good week before the N4C deadline, and we could make it sooner and have an event just like this.
Just
and
like
go
this. Yeah.
and critique before the deadline.
That's a
Good,
great idea.
good idea. Great
Beautiful
idea.
images, though.
Thank you. May I ask one more question? Is there any photo anybody sees that they would not have included or doesn't fit well with this or is lesser than the
Center
others?
image is weaker than the other ones. For clarity, it's darker than the others as well.
Which one was that? I'm sorry.
the very center image.
Oh, okay.
When it's full screen, it's very lovely and the tones of the flower are very clear, but in the overview, it's darker than all the others. And
Oh, I
the
see. Okay.
is smaller and way less clear.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
but then the last one looks hot.
Yeah.
I would rather have the darker one than the one that in the overview. Well, actually, the third one and the ninth one look hot.
Yeah.
I agree. I would look at bringing the luminosity down on a couple of those flowers.
Next year.
The luminance.
Okay. Thank you. I'm learning a lot. I appreciate it.
Well, you do wonderful, wonderful work for
Yeah,
learning a
stunning.
lot. You're magnificent.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Look at the eyeballs
Mark,
on that.
Very.
Mark, did you do these at Bees and Blooms?
I did, you know, it's funny, I counted them. I probably did 6 out of 8 there.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're great.
But
I really love
I might have mentioned in a previous competition. It's pretty simple. I won a camera in a contest, and I just started doing macro for about 4 or 5 years, and that's all I did. And I joined the club, and I'm starting to expand into other areas. And this is all I did actually for all self-taught. So
Beautiful.
but I'm learning so much from all of you. I love how organized the club is, and I'm trying a lot of different things which I never did before. So
It's a great place to learn.
Yep.
Skippers.
So Mark,
Nice
if
work.
you brought down the luminance in yellow, I don't know what program you use, you might increase some of the detail in that flower.
No,
Something to look at in any case, right there.
Yeah.
this one's very bright. And
Yeah.
the brightness detracts from the focus on the insect.
Yeah.
what does, say that one more time, Steve, please?
Brightness.
The
Oh,
bright,
bright. Yeah, this was simply blown out, and I did the best I could with it, you know, to be honest.
Well, look at your luminance just to see what it does.
there are ways to use gradient filters when you're editing to tone that down.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that's a good technique to learn, is how you can adjust midtones, light and dark, and apply a kind of gradient, which will very nicely dim that down. And then on the upper part of the gradient, if you kind of mask over the insect, you can increase some of the contrast and perhaps sharpness in some areas, and it would help the insect stand out more against the background.
Oh, fast. I'll play with that.
I was gonna
Would you
say-
care if I ever called you, Steve, and just asked you a little bit more about that?
The easiest software to use for me is Luminar.
Okay.
In terms of getting the most done with the least effort. If you want to be a lot more precise, then the Photoshops and the Affinity Photo, etc. But for most of us, that's overkill.
I'm using Photoshop Elements now, so I'll graduate at some point. But thank you. I'll let you move on. The advice is great.
Nice.
See, the tones of the flower are really lovely, but it's kind of hard to see too much detail on the insect. It's sort of, the flower dominates as opposed to the insect.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I love it. I love that
Yeah,
one.
I love it too, just the way it
Yeah,
is.
me
I'm
too.
good with it.
I really
Looks
like
like
this shot.
The only
Chocolate
I did do
cosmos.
editing on this one. I took all the pollen off it, which is ironic given the title of the.
Okay, Mark, by the way, if you put it in nature, you can't change anything about it. You can't move a twig. You can't.
Oh, is
move
that
it.
right? Thank you
Yeah,
for the clarification.
That's the
Okay.
truth of it. And you can't take it out in the programs either. You
Oh,
can't.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm
So
good to
it's
hear
just
that.
the truth of the situation. You can crop.
Can
But
you
in
play with
pictorial,
light?
you can do anything.
You can play with light, but don't cut down the tree that's in front of it.
Oh, okay.
There you
Fair
go.
enough. And as far as I know, that on all these, that's the only thing I've ever actually edited out is the pollen on that flower. So
And Mark, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to ask somebody.
I would love that. I would
Yeah.
love, and I
I
do
don't
with
think
some of
that-
you, and so it's been very helpful.
I don't think there's anybody here who's not available to talk to at any point you want to.
I like this artichoke fly.
Me too.
Yeah,
that's
me
one
too.
here.
I have a funny story on this one. I took it and I tried to identify it forever, and I was doing all kinds of things on the color of the eye and everything, and I finally typed in fly on an artichoke, and it said yes, an artichoke fly.
Never heard of an artichoke fly before.
They're imported. Okay.
Oh, so they're
Um,
on more expensive artichokes.
Cool. I'll remember that for the crosswords.
Yeah.
Mark, you're perfectly fine in portfolio to have done what you did with the pollen. So that's
Oh, okay. Just if I compete in the nature.
just
Right.
like
Okay.
travel and journalism. Journalism, you can't do setups and things like that. So
Good to know. So far, I haven't on the nature, but I have on others. But
that's okay.
Mark, I
Yes.
think on this one, you might have been a little better off if you had cropped in more. You don't need that center that's blown out. Just a thought.
Okay. To kind of stay with the theme of the other.
Yeah, and the size of the others
What I
too.
was trying to do here was capture how small the bee was, and I like the flaming,
Good point.
leaves of the flower. So
Yeah.
that was my thinking, at least at the time I did it.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. You absolutely did do that.
Yeah.
My comment, Mark,
Yes.
this is Betsy. This particular photo, when you view it on your overview page,
Yes.
it is the one, like one of these things doesn't go with the others, that little song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the other photos, your insect is larger. You're just in much closer. And I understand what you're saying about the size of the bee, but on this page here, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with Betsy.
It's all good advice and much appreciated. Anything else?
I had, Mark, one comment because I'm seeing the third and ninth image were being kind of blown out. One of the
Yes.
things that I know a lot of people do, myself included, and I do it a lot in clouds. If I end up with a cloud, and I'm talking about like a pictorial image, basically, not something that's a nature image, but a lot of times I will clone, sample like the color of the yellow, for example, and do that over the highlight. Because a lot of times if you bring the highlights down, then you start getting
Oh, okay.
and you lose your whites. But if you actually take some of that yellow and carefully go in and kind of go over it, not 100%, but maybe
Yeah.
50% or play with it, you'll find that it will bring detail back to those areas and get rid of the highlights. If you really want to save an image and the highlights are too blown, especially like number 9, if you did that in that one, and then, I mean, if it were me, I'd probably just crop it in a bit more and then take a lot of that flower and clone a lot of that to dial it down.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Big
But the
difference.
thing is, you really need to know what you're doing to do that. Otherwise it gets really messy.
Yeah, I'm still at the novice stage on that. I'm just learning to play with that kind of stuff, but I'll remember that on this campaign. So
You can also copy paste it and transform. So
Mhm.
if you took that ring on the top right of yellow and you put just selected the yellow and then copy, paste, and then transform, move it down, lower the opacity,
Yes.
He has
So,
elements.
is
Can
that
he do
fair?
that in elements?
I think they do that kind of,
Oh,
pardon
yeah,
me.
you can do it in, yeah.
Yeah.
Elements can do that. There are
Okay.
several ways to do anything you want to do in Photoshop and Elements.
Okay.
One suggestion,
Yes.
one suggestion I might say is in studying presentations, you know, not necessarily, I'm not sure how this works in this application, but if you make a presentation like a slideshow, you would generally start with a very good photo, and then you would kind of intersperse and then save the last two so that the very last one is your very best. The second from the last would be maybe your second best. And that way, if they're going through sequentially, that gives a maximum impact at the end and leaves the viewer with a good feeling towards your whole group.
Makes a lot of sense.
So it's sometimes you can play with your pattern on how you present it and end up with a banger, you know, one that really gives it
like a good
End with a statement.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's good advice. Thank you.
How are we doing on time?
I was about to say it's time to move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks again, everybody. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Nice.
Yin and yang in nature. The ancient Chinese principle of yin and yang says that all things exist as inseparable and contradictory opposites. While often used to describe human characteristics, opposites can be seen throughout nature. This portfolio documents instances of coexisting opposites in the natural world, and some images contain multiple examples of this duality. Oops.
Good title.
Overview image. Sunlight, shadow.
Who's the author?
Oh,
I'll tell
that's
you
me.
at the end.
Who is it?
He'll
I'll
say
tell
at
you
the end.
at the end.
Okay.
Earth, sky. Light, dark. Sea, land. Hot, cold. Black, white. In, out. Liquid, solid. Okay, this is by Jennifer.
All right.
Really well thought out, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I love the concept, really, a lot.
Love the concept.
And
Did
the
you come up
title
with the
really helped.
concept after the images, or I mean, how did you come up with this?
It popped into my head way back in actually last December. And it really kind of gave me a direction for a lot of the year. I mean, no matter what else I was doing, I was always keeping an eye out for that theme. And I really enjoyed that process. And now I have about a list of 5 ideas for next year that I have to whittle down and see what I can do. But it was just really fun to have a project in mind that goes over a long period of time.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, Jennifer, it really shows how that it was thought out ahead of time and that you were looking for the duality in these elements I think it's just very imaginative. And well
The-
done.
Oh, thank you.
The type font that it's italicized, the kind of shine of the background image, it's a very striking statement slide, I think.
Right, it's dark to light.
That, you mean the overall picture one?
No, this one.
Can we see that?
This one.
That was courtesy of Tim Allen, who came up with that workaround because I just couldn't make it work in Photoshop. And he told a way to do it with PowerPoint. And so I worked on it in PowerPoint. And then at the very end, I got the suggestion of looking at the N4C tutorial. But by then I'd put so much effort into it that I just went with the PowerPoint that I had done. But you know, that, thank you very much, Tim, if you're still there listening, because that really, really kept me on track because I was getting very, very frustrated and disillusioned with myself.
You're welcome.
Beautifully done.
I love this. I love. And I have only one suggestion, was that black, white, I don't think the white is white. As it is, you can see it here, how the beautiful snow is white, but the bird one, I would, you know, think in terms of this, that it's not white. It's not a problem. Just something that hit me as I went through it.
Okay, yeah, and to use white in the title and then not have it be white.
And not have it be white.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I mean, don't worry about it. It's wonderful.
Okay.
You know, looking at what we were talking about, making a statement, for me, your strongest photo in there is the hot cold, is it? The one that has the steaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would end it with that one because it's so strong.
I'm sorry, which one? I didn't get which one.
Mammoth Hot Springs. Your one on Mammoth.
Let's see can we see the picture that has all of them?
Bottom left.
There you go. Bottom left.
Hot cold.
Terrace.
Oh, the hot
Bottom left.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really powerful picture.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Actually, the very first one.
I get the strongest, with this one, I get the strongest sense of what you're trying to impart on me. What you're trying to say with your statement.
No, I'm sorry. It's a little, my machine is a little garbled.
Okay. This photo for me gives me the strongest sense of what you were trying to convey. The shadow and light also gives me that strong sense.
The shadow and light one was one of the first ones that hit me because when you see the yin yang sign, you see the dark has a little dot of white and the light has some little bits of dark. So I guess that was my very favorite. But in terms of the hot cold was a very, very close to it.
When I look at this, what I see when I see the cover page is that for me, all your strongest photos have a diagonal going through them.
Yes, well, but that was intentional. It was trying to mimic when you see a yin yang single, that curving line.
So that's what I'm saying is that when you did that on a photo, like the top and bottom left, the bottom right, and that one, whenever you have that strong diagonal is when I personally feel your communication the strongest.
Okay, yeah. And so you think maybe I should have found more photos with diagonals?
I would have carried that on. because there you
Yeah,
have
I
a
agree.
theme that's very strong.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Okay.
The layout of the overview image, staggering the column heights up and down, I think is very effective.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun to do, and I did it in PowerPoint. I don't know if you can do it in Photoshop.
Oh, yeah,
And-
you can do anything like that in Photoshop. Easy, overlap, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, you just have to know how to do it.
We'll help you.
Okay, thank you.
And the lighting of this slide, the shadow down at the bottom and lighter at the top, it
Yeah.
gives each photo a look as though these are prints laid out. These are not
Yeah.
digital.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is nice.
speaking of that, that's how I came out with the layout. I printed all of these at Costco, for 19 cents each, 5 by 5 squares. And then I got a big white piece of paper and I was shuttling them around and
Great idea.
coming up with
Yeah.
layouts, and it
Good
was
layout.
really, really fun. And I'd walk in a room, I'd look at it again and flip something to a different spot until I got to what I liked.
What a great idea.
Good
Very
I can see that you have the black and whites on a axis.
Yes,
It's nice.
That was good.
yeah. And then on the edges, I have the diagonals kind of leading in, and both ends, kind of
Right.
pointing in. And it was
Clever.
Yeah, very, that's
Good
very
thinking.
subliminal.
Yeah.
I just noticed that the white bird is looking towards the snow.
Yeah.
And the gray bird is looking towards the birds that are gray.
Birds of a
Wow.
feather. Yeah.
Well thought out.
Very
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, Jennifer, this is terrific.
Well, thank you very much.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Thanks. Well, I'm just enjoyed it for the process of doing it.
Yeah, same here.
Congratulations. Yeah, nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay. Wine Country Polo.
Wonder who this is.
Yeah.
And he'll say at the end, oh,
I know.
Santa Rosa's Polo Club has a diverse membership of men and women, young and old. They share a love of fast-paced game played on horseback using mallets with long, flexible handles to drive a wooden ball down a grass field and between two goalposts. It is generally acknowledged that 60% of a player's effectiveness comes from a trained and nimble horse. Overview.
Oh.
Pre-game tail braiding to prevent interference with the mallet swing. Ankles wrapped for protection against hard-driven balls. Boots and knee guards for protection against hard-driven balls. Game on. Perfect horse composure allows an under-the-neck shot. Quick acceleration as the direction of play changes. Leading the charge. Blue team scores. Enjoying the post-game cool down. Okay, this is by Bill.
Yes.
The
No,
great
fun.
Yoo-hoo.
images are beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just gorgeous.
Mhm.
You could write a magazine article around these pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Really.
One thing for next time. When you talk about quick acceleration,
Uh-huh.
if you had an image where you caught the motion of the animal, that would have been, I think,
That would be nice.
more effective.
Oh, good.
Still a
Thank you.
beautiful image.
Thank you. Good
Very well
point.
done, but I think that showing some motion at that point.
Do you
when
mean
the
motion blurring?
quick acceleration? Yeah, blurring.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see the movement.
Bill, I wonder about taking that bottom right and flipping it so that the horse is looking into the frame.
Oh, that's a great point. I hadn't thought of that. That's a great point. I think you're right. That would fit. We're
Somebody
looking
else
back
pointed
into
that
the-
out on one of my photos, and it's like, it's such a simple thing, and we just don't think of it.
Oh, yeah, no,
Mhm.
I agree. That's a really good idea. Should do that.
Middle row, they all point leftwards.
Oh, yeah.
Head on,
I would
head
take that, now that you're mentioning it, Steve, I would take that center left and point him the other way too, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you could flip the image.
Yeah.
You know, these are pictures that probably would have went into journalism in our club.
Right.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
not journalism, so you could flip them all you want.
Exactly.
Right. Right. It's
Yeah.
a journalistic message, but I agree. It's I think could do a lot of things. I think that's a really good point.
I think I would have taken that lower left and put that in the center also. So you could have all the people looking in toward the center and then have that one popping out.
I think the exposures are all really great.
Excellent.
I've got a point about the titles.
Uh-huh.
The title at the end, it's the hard driven balls, and then in the next one, it's
Hard driven balls. Yeah.
balls again, and the titles don't quite flow with that same phrase twice.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I actually did that intentionally because both the horse and the rider is in danger of being injured due to the hard driven balls. And so that's why I did that. So I
So something like
Use
boots
different
and
words.
knee
I
guards,
got that.
boots
I
and
personally
knee
got
guards
that.
also
What are you saying,
protect.
Tricia?
Boots.
I was
and knee
saying that
guards.
I personally got that.
No, Tricia.
I'm sorry.
Boots and knee guards provide the same protection for the riders.
Correct. That's great. Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
a bit redundant.
But
That's
this,
a beautiful image though, man alive.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah, really.
Those are
Well
great
thought out.
the tonality of the leather in this shot is beautiful.
Yes, it's great.
I love that there's a person in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
balance here is very good.
Even
Now
the,
you know
Yeah.
how those boots got so shiny.
and the,
Lot of-
and
lot of
the,
work.
the
Yeah.
rough metal, the patterns on the metal that they're standing on, is
Yeah.
beautiful, complementary.
Contrast, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's one of the last shots I took this year
No,
in polo. It was the final match, end of the match.
Very nice.
Yeah, he just needs to be facing right.
Well, I see your point when you look at all of the images together. I'm not
Right.
sure I would change the image by itself.
Well, keep
back
in
in-
mind.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I never mind.
And this
totally.
one, my hidden message, I guess, is that they have such a range, a diverse membership. This is a young woman, 17 years old, and she's playing with the men, and she rides really fast.
Yeah.
And at this point, she's turning the corner quickly. But I see Tricia's point that motion, you don't see the motion, the image is frozen. Yeah,
This one really caught my attention though, because exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
maybe
So
you could
the
put this on
title-
the women for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, put her in the title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
there
another
you
one.
go.
This is a great one too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leading the charge here.
You did a great job of showing the different ages of people.
Yeah.
The
Great.
older
That was
man and the
something I was
young
trying to
woman
do.
and-
Yeah, great
Yeah,
action
absolutely.
shot.
I like the divots in the ground with the dirt.
Exactly. Yeah. Same with this one, the dirt kicking up at their hooves.
That shows
Now,
action.
the thing that bothers me about this is that post, and I'm guessing that you wanted it there because it's a goalpost or something,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it grabs my attention more
Especially
than
the-
I want it to.
Yeah.
It's like instead of being focused on the people, I go right to that post and out of the frame.
And specifically the red in that post.
Yeah, yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to tell if somebody was scoring without the post.
Right.
Right.
You tell
Well,
me
at least the blue team is winning.
Yeah, if you tell me the blue team scores, I
This is
don't
not a
need-
political statement.
Sorry.
Well said.
Too bad.
I don't feel like I need that goalpost.
Something else I noticed in, I think, 3 of the pictures, this is one of them. The way when they're swinging the mallets, the way the stem curves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's.
Oh,
fabulous.
wow.
Are they really flexible or are they?
Extremely. That's why I put that in the title, in the overview message.
Oh,
So they are extremely
That's
flexible.
interesting.
wow.
Practically
I had no
swinging on
idea
the
how
screen.
I like that it's totally airborne too.
Really, yeah, good point.
I'd probably hit myself in the head.
Fly right back up. Knocked out.
Good back scratchers.
This, I love this image.
Yeah,
This is
This is
fantastic.
wonderful.
The horse's reward.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
You
great
can-
way
It's
to
100
end it.
degrees that day.
Oh,
And
Oh,
poor baby.
Steel is really
From burning out, it's a very nice shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even got the droplets.
yeah.
I really like that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Nice job, Bill.
Nice.
Yeah, really good.
Onward.
Job.
Onward and upward.
Oh, yay.
Oh.
Animals with attitude.
Okay.
Wonder who did this one.
Across the world has inspired me to capture animals, large and small, at the moment they're showing attitude, whether menacing or mirthful, glaring or indifferent. What unites these images is a look in their eyes we as humans, animals can recognize.
It's a poem.
I also recognize my own attitudes as I create each portrait, intending to dramatically and respectfully represent the attitude I perceive in each individual, while acknowledging that I am anthropomorphizing my subjects.
Yay.
Wonderful.
That is wonderful. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, so impactful.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yep, I think you succeeded.
That's really, the layout is lovely too.
Yes.
Yeah.
These animal pictures,
Peter,
Nancy's.
Oh my God.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Love those eyes. Wow.
Astounding.
southern white rhinoceros,
Wow.
Cape buffalo.
Oh.
Holy cow.
Right.
I didn't mean holy cow literally.
Chilean flamingo,
Wow.
Love that eye.
Oh, look at that eye.
vulturine guinea pig,
That's fascinating.
Awesome.
Orkney salmon,
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh,
That's astounding. I've never seen that in these images.
Oh, look at that little face.
Orkney's winning bee,
Look at that little pursed mouth.
Yep.
Oh.
Missed.
Give Pierre a big kiss.
Brilliant.
As in swallows.
Come back, Mom.
Wow.
Feed me.
That is a great,
That was great.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Wasn't obvious. It's Nancy.
Yeah, like we didn't know.
Nancy?
I love the way you considered your palette, Nancy.
Beautiful. Wow.
And I like that you didn't name them so people could see what they thought they were thinking or feeling.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
named the animal.
That to your audience.
Learned that from Greg Gorsiski.
Oh,
Yeah.
Don't tell people because they may think something different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good too.
Can I ask a question? Is everybody seeing the text on the first slide curved?
No,
Yeah, I am, yeah.
I think it's purposeful.
just kidding, Ronnie, just kidding.
It's a little bent.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Like
play
the artist.
Yeah.
Text with attitude.
Uplifting.
Okay.
No,
Basically,
hey,
the overall
Nancy,
picture.
And I
Nancy.
traveled it up and down. The smiling one I didn't like as much as the curved down.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
I got a couple of observations. I'm not sure if you need the hyphens here. And secondly, at the
Yeah.
very last line, while acknowledging that I'm anthropomorphizing my subjects, you don't actually do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
In your mind.
I was. The thing is,
Yeah.
as I was creating these,
Okay.
I was anthropomorphizing. I picked them for having a look that I saw that. I processed them to have, I'm disappearing.
Yeah, you're not actually stating what that attitude, you're not stating the nature of their attitude. You're letting us
Showing us.
I'm,
come to the conclusion.
as a human animal myself, it's what I'm putting on them. And
Gotcha.
I chose the images. I had lots in and out, in and out. And you, if you've been around, you've seen each one of these before, but
Yep.
each one I changed. And
Oh.
I'd like to express my experience of going through this, even though I used images that I've put into competition over the years. I think the oldest one is from 2011. And I realized, especially with that last competition with Portal, the boy that I changed from a sweet, innocent boy to just something very dark. I fell in love with doing that, and I've changed how I intend to do my photography at this point in my life for a while until I stop. But each one of these, and it was very hard, like the flamingo was very light, and I kept, as I changed it and I made it dark, what would be a vignette, although they're never just a regular vignette, is that every time I made it darker, what happened is that it turned out more saturated, because changing contrast increases saturation. And I went, increases saturation. So I went, and where I darkened it, I desaturated, and then it got this. So this was such a growing experience for me to try to make all of the pictures fit together. And I moved them around like crazy. I flipped them. The guinea fowl, I really like, it had to be the other direction. And you know, when you're used to seeing something and you flip it, it just doesn't work. And so that one I got used to, but I did not put these like what Jennifer did out, but I had them in Photoshop, and I was moving around, and I would do a screenshot and move them around and do a screenshot, and picked and chose for that. And I wanted big animals and small animals, kind of mean looking and just sort of indifferent. Like the rhino is huge, and it's just very kind of like there. But that's an attitude, is to just kind of have an attitude like a teenager.
Can we go to the main screen again?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where from film you get the concept of what is called color grading. And this is where LUTs are used, to where you have a palette or set of colors that you need to be consistent across many parts of the film, so that the same shirt someone's wearing doesn't appear to be a slightly different color in different parts of the film. And so, Nancy, you've achieved a very consistent color grading on this, but as you've detailed your effort, you did it image by image, and that's a huge amount of work. You were successful, but there are shorter cut ways to bring about that consistency. And perhaps we can work in the future, because if we're going to be doing more portfolios, learning how to consistently color grade will make this process a whole lot easier.
I would like to learn to use
program.
Yeah, that sounds.
in the way that movies do.
Yeah. Nancy, you grabbed me from this first page.
Yeah.
The drama in it, the color palette, how it moves around. Really well thought out and balanced. The one photo that, and I'm being really picky here because this is so stunning, but the bee, when we got to that as a single, it was a little jar, just a little jar in me. And I think what I was taking in subconsciously is there's more space around this one than any of the others. And so that was a little jarring for me. I mean, the others are kind of, I see close-ups of them. And then the bee is, and I'm being so picky here. I mean, this is so stunning. But like I say, that cover page, you had me there.
And Terry, I love to jar you.
I know. And likewise.
I did a lot of thinking on that as well. And the idea, one of the ideas was something very big and something very small. And so I was trying to play with, to see how I could take you from obviously big animals.
Right.
Big and mean animals to kind of like, birds, okay, those are kind of interesting. A fish, and then, oh, a bee. So I wanted to jar you. Maybe I wasn't effective. I could have done it in another way, but that was actually intentional. And also the bee is the very smallest picture.
Right.
Now I could have gone the opposite and come in really close and had the bee actually be bigger. Of course, it would have been a problem because these are huge crops. And that was another choice I thought of making, was make it that face and just the face and make it huge.
Just a little of the background of it, crop in just the smallest bit, I think would have made me happier. But this is so stunning.
Well, but I appreciate, this is the kind of back and forth we do love to do. And it really helps. But the colors, I went a lot of work into having them work together, because for a while, and it was Tamara who looked at this, and she's like, the color, look at those things, just have color, and there's not, and I'm like, oh. And so I had to, how I could make it so that they weren't just colorful and other things were. And so thank you for noticing those things, because that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
I like the way you finished it too.
Wow.
Did anyone notice anything in the titles, such as that was animal name, 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 animal name. Whoa, this is what the zebra is doing.
I know. I had it originally as zebra.
Fledging. Fledging means developing their flight feathers and stuff. And so I looked at this and I went, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with flight.
There's two different words I had swallow, fledging swallows. There's another word. And I looked up the two words to make sure I was using the right word.
This fermenting.
One of them just left the nest. I thought fledging was the one that had just left the nest.
They're fledglings, not
fledgling.
There's fledgling and there's fledglings. The fledgling is a noun, and those are there's a difference. The fledgling are the ones that are flying. Fledging.
No, that just means that they're the age to fly.
Fledging swallows means that's what they're doing.
But I went back and forth on those two words, and I thought I picked the one that this one was, as opposed to the other one. Anyway, but I agree that the last two had action words, adverbs, were they? Fledging or adjectives?
I can't think of it, but there's a word for when the birds all have their mouths open begging for food. And I think there is a word describing that.
I think they're gonna look at the images and not worry so much about the title.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
I like the last two images. That really makes a good statement, finishes up your story really nice.
Yeah.
And then layout with the zebra and the birds facing each other is very nice.
Really nice.
Yeah, really makes
Good
a nice,
example
nice
of what we
ending.
were talking about earlier.
Right.
The Cape Buffalo,
Excellent example.
the lighting through the ear is really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Nancy?
incredible.
I just looked up the Fleming response, and the gerund would be Flehming, so not Fleming, but Fleming.
I also looked that up, and there were two ways to do it. If you look up what I have, you'll find it.
Okay, great.
And I decided between it that it was so it's like it's a gerund, but it's actually used as an adjective in this case. But I appreciate, because you know how many hours I spent on those things. I agree, and I thank you for noticing, and I thank you for looking it up.
Excellent.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for all this input and stuff. I love it.
Okay. After John Copland's. John Copland's photographed his aging, wrinkled body in his studio without artifice or props in response to the cultural message that old is ugly. He showed that his own old body was a worthwhile and interesting photographic subject. I want to do for old women's bodies what Copland's did for old men. Demonstrate that a photographic study of a woman's aging flesh is an interesting, moving, and worthwhile undertaking.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, my word.
Cool.
Eyes.
Wow.
Stomach.
Oh, yes.
Throat. Back with hands above.
Wow.
Back of hand.
Wow.
Ankle grab. reclined. Bent over.
Wow.
Oh my,
Wow,
Lord, that's so
fantastic.
moving.
That's great.
Wow.
Can we look at the
Impressive.
overview again?
It's too bad we don't know any old women.
Ruth. Oh, I love it.
Where's our
Can
author?
we see the cover page?
Oh, yeah.
Stunning.
I
Yeah.
like that the hand is in the middle. That
Yeah,
Yeah, the back of the
Really
yeah,
hand.
nice
that's-
placement of everything.
Yes.
I
yeah.
think I would have taken that center bottom one a little crop on the bottom. I don't, there's a lot of space there for me.
The way the hands on the shoulders are below the eyes, that's very well positioned.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
nicely placed.
lifting up.
Yeah.
Beautiful, powerful piece.
I have two, this is just blows me away. I have two words, stunning, and I heard that from Chris, I think.
Mhm.
Stunning and brave.
Yeah,
Great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
courageous.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Where's our author?
Oh,
A minor point,
Yeah.
or maybe not, on this one, in the overview, the hand is very nice, but let me get there. At least on my monitor, this is showing a little hot. Are other people seeing this?
Yeah,
No,
a little more
I'm not.
hot than the overview.
No.
Yeah, I'm not getting that.
Not too hot.
Yeah.
Because
wouldn't
you
say
can
it's-
compare it back to this.
You look
I think
at
it's
that
in line
and you
with the
can't
others.
figure out what it is if you weren't here.
A tree trunk. That you know it was.
Amazing.
As a woman looking at this, I feel recognized and honored.
Mhm.
That's my reaction.
Nice, Terry.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. Beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Actually, the upper right image also has the same verticals as the two on the left. And I think that kind of bookends balances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wonderful.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
These images are really beautiful. I wish there were no titles to them.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mm.
I think I agree with Tim.
They could have been numbered. They
No.
could have been numbered.
Yeah.
Numbered?
There
Yeah.
is an example
The one, number two, number three. And then we didn't have to know what the parts are and wonder. It
Oh,
increases the
rules-
wonder.
Do the rules in this allow for just having no numbers, no words?
Yeah, no, untitled or untitled number one is not allowed. And nothing is not allowed either, because then there's nothing to distinguish between them.
I wonder if I could fill out the numbers, like one, ONE, TWO.
Fill out T1,
Or you
T2.
could use
That-
Roman numerals.
That would be good.
You should
Yeah, I
do each
agree.
one in a different foreign language.
Or don't do it in
Culo,
order.
Pinocchio, cola.
I looked up John Coppins and looked at some of his images, and one of his famous images is similar to this, but it's two women, and the shapes are very interestingly intertwined. But John did something else interesting. He has a nude image of himself but it's actually two images of himself intertwined. And how he did that is worth a study, because they really look like they had to be separate people, distinct individuals rather than the same person.
That might be fun to play with some of these that way.
Yeah.
The light and the curves on that lower right,
Yeah.
the tonality is
Really good.
Yeah.
sumptuous.
What did you use for lighting, Tricia?
Natural light from the window and a speed light with a reflector in the corner.
I had a feeling it was natural light too.
Yeah. And Cheryl, you could do these in the rain, you know, when it rains.
Very good.
Field trip.
Cheryl's never going
I
to live
have,
that down.
You what?
Regarding the titles, I think it would be interesting if you did one, you know, spell it out, 17, 25, 99, 146.
That's a good idea.
The impression, this is a huge collection you have, and you've chosen these.
Yeah.
8, 7.
I have a comment. I thought this was really great, and I'm not used to looking at portfolios. I think it's wonderful. And I had the same comment actually about Jennifer's yin and yang thing, where I thought it would have been better without titles, because if you look at, if you were to go into an art gallery and see pictures with that preamble, you would be seeing different things in those pictures to maybe what the label is.
Yeah.
I think it's more creative from the point of view of the interpreter to see them without titles or labels. But you say that's not possible.
Well, yeah, they have to have something, but it doesn't have to be exactly what it is. It doesn't have to be so literal.
Are you able at this point to go back in and change that, or is that?
It seems like that again is a change, a dramatic change in it.
Substantive.
Substantive. Thank you. Yes, that word.
We'll
You
go
could
with this
continue the
now.
mood by creating a time of day. 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Hi, James. Haven't
Hi,
seen you in
guys.
a while.
I haven't seen you guys for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Are you well?
Not too well, but I'm doing all right.
Best to you.
Good to see you.
What I found most interesting about these pictures is the texture on the skin. Yeah, they were pretty interesting. Yeah, when you really look close.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Okay. Taken out of context. Searching for interesting patterns, textures, and hidden details in otherwise unremarkable subjects, revealed by an unusual perspective, an alteration of scale, color, or light, ordinary objects taken out of context.
I like it already.
Ooh, beautiful.
Wow.
My goodness.
Alien. Oceanic. Cellular. Susurrance.
You're getting ahead of yourself, Steve.
Yeah. Okay.
Susurrance.
Perhaps. manifold, accelerant, evolution,
Oh, my.
Fascinating.
Those are great.
Very good.
Makes me want to know what each one of those were.
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
just
sure that I
feels
want
so
the title.
organic.
Yeah.
You know, like we're looking into our own inner world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is Tara.
Yay,
Oh.
Tara.
Oh,
Tara,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
that woman.
We haven't seen
Yeah.
her in all year, have we?
No,
Been busy with work, I think.
with work.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah, she's still working, I think.
Yeah, she got a new
She's
job.
very creative. That's
Oh, she is so. My
Yeah.
suggestion for her would have been that on this particular page, I think staggering the photos, and it isn't working for me as well as the individual photos. And I think that staggering and changing the colors up a little.
Oh, yeah, because the two blues are on the right.
Right.
Unless she chose that, and then she could have the two purples on the left. But
Right.
yeah,
And the two purples are one on top, one on the bottom. And yeah, I think she could have played with that a little more. But when you get to the individuals,
Oh, they're gorgeous.
utterly fascinating.
I like the complementary of the gold one and the lavender one on the right, in the middle down below.
Uh-huh.
Work well.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like she was trying to balance the shapes of the images rather than paying attention to the colors.
I agree, Tricia.
Yeah.
That's what I saw too.
Yeah, I like the titles that some of these have, and some of the commercial things, and especially some of the stock portfolios. There, people are looking for images that identify a concept.
Right.
And in this situation, she's like an alien. Okay, here's an alien concept.
Yeah, right.
And that's something that sometimes has a value beyond, a commercial value for certain reasons, because they're trying to give feeling to their, whatever their, piece of
And,
work.
on the first image, that title strikes a note for what to expect further.
Right.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
right.
oh, I see two aliens in there. I didn't see that before.
I should have realized she does lowercase for all her titles usually, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now she can watch this.
Video.
Someone email her and let her know that when it's on YouTube.
Right.
I wish she were here.
Yeah, I'd love to find
Yeah.
out what some of these
I
are.
really like her work.
So are those little
like a-
sailboats?
Can you go back?
That was a
Oh, it's the cactus, I think.
yeah,
Can
it
you go
is.
back one?
Cactus, yeah.
Yeah, that's the cat.
Yeah, this one.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looks like
Prickly
sailboats.
pear.
Looking like it's over sharpened.
What is this?
Looks like
It
a
looks like a
cactus.
cactus.
That's a
with
cactus, but what's the next
Yeah.
one?
Oh, I don't know.
That looks like the flat one, like a prickly pear leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Uh-huh.
paddles.
Yeah, the panels. The other one looked like a poppy. One
Does
that-
anyone else see the over sharpening in this one?
A
Yeah.
little bit of
I did.
noise.
Yeah, it does look a little over sharpened.
But I think that's what helped make the feeling of the water and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I agree.
The gradual
Can I see
change
the
in
next
shading.
one?
Yeah.
she's very intentional in her
Steve,
work.
move it on to the next one.
Cellular.
There.
That is pretty
Steve,
cool.
next.
There we go.
It's next. We got it.
We're there.
It looks like
Oh, okay.
snow.
Wow, you can't get in my head.
I'm not, oh, there we are.
No,
Oh,
sorry.
now we moved too far.
Word. Susurrance means whisper.
Oh, good one.
Good. Wow.
This is one of my favorites.
Definitely.
Yeah.
a whisper.
Yeah.
Me too, Liz.
It has much movement in it, so gentle.
Mhm.
You got very soft to the right. And then it goes into extreme detail as you get up into the top left-hand corner.
In the perfect spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
also
this is
towards
very
the
interesting.
center, at
Oh,
the
that's really
center of the
nice.
bottom right. You've
Yeah.
got those pieces coming up that are extremely clear, very beautiful.
Yeah. And the graduation of color.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, you notice it's orienting to the left a little. And the next image is very well placed because it goes to the right.
Right.
Perhaps.
Very clever.
Feather.
Feather? I was thinking whiskers, but I think feather might be more reasonable.
I think
Might be her cat whiskers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cat whiskers is what I was thinking.
Could be, because that looks like fur on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
I love this,
That's wonderful.
but I don't get the name.
I don't get the title. Yeah.
A manifold would be many, wouldn't it be?
Mini.
It looks to me like an orange section.
Oh,
Ah.
she did
that's
some slices
possible.
of fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, this is a good one.
That's very nice pattern.
Yeah, I thought of a car part.
Me too.
Manifold.
This one reminds me of like a nervous system shot, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of a petri dish.
Yes.
or
Like
pe-
fungus growing on a petri dish.
Yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
vaccine in the making, you know?
Coming.
Who's gonna take it first?
Maybe that's
You
the
are,
goal
Liz. You volunteered.
in 50 years.
And this looks like a cross-section slice of skin.
Yeah.
I think
Ooh.
she did. Remember, she did some stuff with like cucumbers or
Yeah,
slices?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking dental x-rays. but
Yeah.
Way too many teeth.
From the side and then from above.
Could be.
Too many cuts in
It's
that
like
mouth.
a print. You know,
Side view and a cross-section.
That's really beautiful.
yeah.
You,
Tara.
unique
Right.
thing.
Tara, if you listen to this, we miss you.
Yeah.
We do.
Yes, we do.
And you've got some explaining to do.
Right.
And we love you.
Yay.
I miss you.
Oh.
The pilgrims,
Uh-oh.
the pilgrims of Lalibela,
Lalibela.
agnostic, interested in deep religious devotion. I am fascinated with the Ethiopian Orthodox Christmas pilgrimage, where over 200,000 come to worship at 11 underground, rock-hewn churches. I documented the intensely emotional white-robed faithful, most of whom live in poverty yet walk barefoot for days, weeks, or months to get to the holy city of Lalibela, believing monolithic structures were mysteriously built by angels in a single night 800 years ago.
Mm.
Oh, right.
One.
Oh, so she's got numbers.
Two.
I'm still looking at one. There we
Me too.
go.
Three.
Now we moved too fast.
Slow it down, Steve.
I couldn't hear that.
Slow down.
Slow down, please.
Shall I go back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably a good idea.
Start on
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, start again.
There we
Did
go.
we have a 1 and 2, or did we start on 3?
No.
3 of 12.
Okay, 1.
Here's one.
Okay.
Wow.
I have to go, guys. It's nice to see you all.
Nice to see
Come
you.
back again, Jim.
I will.
Take
care,
care.
Jim.
Here.
It's an amazing photo.
I love the
Wow.
shadows on the building.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's lovely.
Adds to all the layers, man. Great.
Doesn't get much better than that. That is incredible.
Oh, I remember these.
Oh, now a different perspective.
Yeah.
The worn steps.
Yin and yang.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well thought out, all of these.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, this we've seen this one.
Yeah, we've
Beautiful.
seen some of these.
Yeah, they're just beautiful.
that's powerful.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Look at the diminutive all the way to the right, like sweep.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Well, and she's really captured the feeling of reverence that she's made in her opening statement.
Who did this one?
We'll find out at the end.
Oh, okay.
I already know.
We already
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't remember who it was. Just gorgeous. My gosh.
Yeah.
Mm.
That guy in the back, his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Really
so much
captured you.
His eyes.
so much to take in there.
Layers and layers.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, and that woman, yeah.
You
Oh,
should.
Jeepers. Gorgeous.
That's a
Yeah,
favorite.
we've seen this too. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, wow.
Those eyes.
Lilabella. Jeez.
Oh.
Never heard of it. Amazing.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
It's too bad she's used your titles, Trisha. You can't switch now.
Yeah.
They'll have to use Spanish.
Anna should be great.
So who did it?
Tamara, huh?
Tamara, I assume.
Like Tamara. Yeah.
Okay, I have to
Does
say,
anyone else?
Tamara, are you there?
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm wondering, you made a choice to make these all very small. And I'm wondering what your thinking was on that.
My thinking was, unlike most of you, I don't know how to use Photoshop, and I'm not very good at all these kind of things.
Oh, I knew I'd like to.
And I was also very lazy, and I just wanted to use, and I should have spent the year thinking like Jennifer did and many of you did of actually doing something over the year, but of course I meant to and I never did. So I ended up choosing this because, as you guys know, you've seen many of these images before. I love this. It's one of my favorite trips ever. I was scheduled to go back there for a total solar eclipse there in June before COVID. Because it's an amazing experience, and this happened to be Christmas, but it's, you know, there's a lot of different celebrations there, and I wanted to kind of be there when there was no crowds there too. But it's really just such an astounding experience, and I probably have 5,000. I don't even know how many pictures I have from there. So being lazy, I kind of just stuck with some. I tried to add. Nancy, as usual, is helping me with some of these. Like I have one image that I just love, but it's originally I thought, oh, I'm never going to enter it because it needs to be part of a body of work so you understand what's going on. And that's true, I think, of a lot of the pictures here. So that's why I decided, okay, even though I've used most of these before, I kind of wanted to show it in its totality versus just like four in a journalism series or travel or whatever journalism I used them. And I ended up not using the whole reason I chose this one for the portfolio. And it's just an image. It's just an image of a person sitting kind of like the women on the bottom left. There's 5 women just sitting against a wall in one of these underground places. And it's a solitary figure who took their white robe and completely covered themselves with it. So they almost look ghostly. You have no idea, old, young, male, female, anything. And it's just this kind of weird, I don't know. It's a very weird image. And I wanted to do this series with this because I wanted a way to use that image. And then in the end, it was like, it doesn't quite work because you can't see the person. So I ended up taking it out anyway. But to answer your question, I think it was you, Terry.
Yeah.
I did this, unlike Jennifer's beautiful one that, you know, had the gradation of color. It took me about 6 hours just to make this page. And I think I even emailed Nancy and said, oh, just F this. I'm not even going to enter this because I don't care about trying to make this stupid overview page this much. And I finally got this on. And then I realized they're a little too small and I didn't put, you know, drop shadows. I didn't put white lines around it. I don't like the gray. And then it was either enter it as is, or I'm just going to cancel the whole thing. So they just stay this way.
Yeah. I think the cover page, they feel a little small, but for as many as you have, I don't know how you could really enlarge them.
Exactly.
I did try making them bigger, and then it got very unbalanced. And trying to keep them in the order that they were going to be, which from what I understood the rules, you know, they have to be in the order that they are shown. And again, I just kind of gave up and said, you know, 80-20, it's good enough, but they are kind of small.
But you do have a beautiful continuity there. I like the way the little boy is looking into the photo and then the girl on the other side looking into the photo.
Oh, that's actually, they're both girls.
Yeah, a lot of eyes.
Yeah. The one thing I noticed, and it may be just because it's a Zoom, so the quality in the girl that I was getting on my screen was a little JPEG, little pixelated.
The little girl with the cross?
No, the little girl with the eyes. The second on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, it showed.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Screen too, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little noisy. It's a little noisy.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks like noise has been softened. And so your other photos are so sharp and so perfect that the imperfection in this one just kind of showed up.
Yeah, I almost took that one out, but again, it was like, then I have to find a new one and then I have to reorganize the whole entry page. And I didn't care that much.
I understand. I totally get it. I think you would have been
right.
The eyes are, her look is wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But it compared to the others that are so sharp and so crisp, it shows.
It's also more, it's not as contrasty, so it makes it.
I think when you're doing a portfolio like this, and it was the same in newspaper business, is you're looking for continuity. And anything that breaks that continuity, no matter how attached to it you are, probably should be thought about.
And you were trying to say something?
Did you vignette this and work on the lighting? Because it pops out very nicely from the background.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried to do the whole series in the order of, so it made sense for people too. The overview, which really wasn't the same as the rest of the images, but in order to understand what's going on and why this place is so, like I said, these people, they believe that angels built all of these churches overnight.
Wow.
And that's a very long story about this place, but it's supposed to be like, it was built to be Jerusalem, I guess, and it's got the river through the middle and the angels, and they've got the Ark of the Covenant, not in this town, but in a town nearby. that they
Wow.
believe is really the Ark of the Covenant that was brought. And it's really just, the whole story is amazing. So I started with the first overview image just so people could kind of understand that these churches are dug down. And that was at sunrise. So you couldn't tell there was 200,000 people because there weren't 200,000 up yet that day. But, and then I kind of did it where people are going down into the one of the church. There's all different ones because there's, like I said, 11 of these different churches underground. This one is the most famous because you can see it so well, the top of it. But then like the next one where I had the people looking down into the hole. I believe it's the same one, actually. This is the same. And then this, again, people coming out and in line to go in to try and get the sense, okay, now you're going into one of these dark churches. And then the next one is a very dark, I think it's the ladies, I think the next one. Yeah, so then they're in the dark church. I was trying to make it make sense. It's like you're traveling through these things, then you're back out kind of thing. And back into the next one, because you go from, it's like a Stations of the Cross almost, you go from one to the next one to the next one, and you visit all 11 of them over the course of however many days you're there. And like this guy, these people are just, some of them are just walk through days. And the little girl that's coming up, well, I don't have to keep telling you the stories, but I sat next to her and her grandmother, who's a nun, because we're all packed in there absolutely shoulder to shoulder. I mean, like, you're touching all the people around you for hours on Christmas Day. And she was sitting next to me. She'd lean on us. And I just like this because she's young and she's got this sort of weird hip mohawky looking hairdo and a cross. Yet her shoes had fallen apart because her nun mother was saying that they had walked for, I don't know, weeks to get there, or I forget how long. But and I have a picture of her shoe. She's holding me her shoe that's completely fallen apart, which I thought about using too. But again, can only use 10.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
Tamara, you're agnostic. Did you get any spiritual vibes from the place?
No, but I don't really like organized religion like that. I just find it fascinating. And it was just such a bizarre, I shouldn't say that, a bizarre yet positive experience. If you're somewhere with who knows how many, 60 Minutes was filmed this 2 years ago too. The year I was there, we saw these big cameras, and like one of the only other gringos there basically. And I watched their show and they said 200,000 people. I've read 100,000, whatever. Anyway, it's massive humanity sleeping in the streets, sleeping in the parks, on top of each other everywhere. And yet it's just very peaceful. And like when I was talking about, I was sitting there with that girl, I'm not good with smells to begin with. So I was really worried I'm not going to handle this very well, because if I'm in that Christmas morning where we're all sitting there, you go in there and there's people and nobody can leave. So they're peeing in jars or whatever they can. I don't know what they're doing because nobody can leave. You're completely packed, like 100,000 people shoulder to shoulder for hours and hours and hours. And you just didn't notice it. So I guess to your question, Joel, I guess there was just some bizarre sort of peaceful pleasantness of the whole thing. And it should have been kind of disgusting for a lot of sort of physical reasons. And it wasn't. And everyone was just so nice. And you had no worries about your cameras or your belongings. Well, there weren't that many tourists anyway, but it was just a very positive vibe, not from a religious sense, just from a humanity sense, which you would not think would be true in that many people camping on top of each other in a little village. So
Really
I guess the
captured
answer
all
is yes.
that
Thank you for
in
asking that.
You bet.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mara, I would say you have a superior spiritual sensitivity.
Well, thank you, Steve. I don't know. I'm drawn to these kind of things, whether they're voodoo ceremonies in some place, whatever people believe really strongly, and it makes them go to all this effort and output and energy and emotion to participate, just fascinates me. So I'm a little bit of an anthropologist and a observer, but it's just it's an amazing place.
You captured it so well.
Thanks for documenting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
excellent work.
Thank you.
Wait to see how you do. I bet it will be great.
I
Thank
think
you.
you
Well,
should,
next year, I'm
I think
sorry.
you should do the militias in rural Washington state.
I don't think, I prefer living in the nice liberal Seattle metro area. I'm not sure I would do so well, and it would be so calming to go out with in Eastern Washington. But
Right.
I do want to next year do what most of you guys did and actually like think it through and do something, work on something over the course of the year. Because this process of portfolio, I like the concept. I like that they're doing this. So it'll be a fun thing to do and process.
Yeah, I agree.
I had not been into this, but after seeing what everybody's done, I'm just so impressed that I might do it next year too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We have one more?
We have one more, right?
Fun at the carnival. At county fairs, people have fun on rides, play games, and eat food. Riders scream and hang on as the rides turn, twirl, and go faster. Some dread the thought of doing it again, while others can't wait to go again. Sliding down steep slides is fun for everyone. Learning games, showing off skills, winning prizes, and eating ice cream, cotton candy, and turkey legs all make for great fun at the carnival. Oh no, I'm going to get wet. Oops, slower.
What a great expression.
Right out of the gate.
Racing down the slide.
Look at the
I love the hair.
They're related.
Yeah, I think so.
It's so much fun.
Oh, get seasick just looking at it.
Yeah, it's all in the matter of in the beholder's eyes, I think.
That was great. No, not again.
That was wonderful.
Oh,
Oh, I want that again.
I want to do that again.
Yeah.
Add a word.
Yeah.
Great job. What a great throw.
Wow.
Nice.
Ah.
movie.
Congratulations. Here's your prize. That's so good. Yes. Hungry?
Hungary.
Hungary or hungry? Gary and turkey leg. Gary and turkey legs.
I'm still here?
So a couple little edits in terms of language.
Yeah, thank you. I did miss those.
But boy, your color continuity is amazing. It's really, really good.
Yeah, Tiff.
Yeah, just that
that's wonderful.
that is a series. That is something that goes together.
Yep. All your blues are the same. And your reds.
Where's the reds? Yeah.
Just Except there are no corn dogs. That's my only criticism.
Fried ice cream.
Maybe that could be your portfolio next year, Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
junk
maybe.
food. Yeah, fair food.
Think about them all
There you
year.
go.
I've got to admit, the fourth photo where one person is
Yeah.
absolutely enjoying it and the other, oh no.
That's my absolute
Do that
favorite.
again.
Oh my God.
It's wonderful action and wonderful studies. And
Yeah.
you mentioned the fourth one being really, really strong. If I were told I had to take one out, I would choose the one below it because it's a nice photo, but it doesn't have the strength of the others. The one below those
With the
kids.
cotton candy or yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kid looking in a bag and the other one having had some ice cream and a bunch of people. And the others are so strong. I would say if I were to pick
That
one,
one.
that would be the one.
This one's amazing.
Yeah.
This one
this
is
red one is-
great.
Well,
It's
the
really
first
great.
one is amazing too.
This is a huge ride, and they take their they're all required to take shoes off because it goes up, I don't know, 400 feet, and you'd hate to have one of those shoes drop on your head.
Okay, but don't tell anybody that because it's more fun to think their shoes dropped off while they were on the ride.
Right.
That's right.
Just the juxtaposition of reaction is just priceless.
It's great.
And all I can say is, what makes you think this is fun?
And these rotate as well. They don't stay in this position. It goes around 360 degrees, and then these rotate as well. So you could be upside down if you're at the top.
Jeez. Oh.
I think we've all been on those rides where we say never again after we get off.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah, the expressions you caught are just priceless.
I know.
Well, many of you know that I do go to a lot of carnivals because I shoot for a trade magazine. And so she likes, the owner and editor likes the human quality of these, of people having fun, the emotion and so on.
Yeah.
You have to get model
Nice, Tim.
releases?
No, I've asked her about that and she says, no, that's not necessary. So it's on her end, not mine.
Yeah, well, if it's a periodical, you don't really need it.
Yeah, it's more editorial. than it
Oh,
is
I
anything
see.
else.
Yeah, editorial, that type of thing. Yeah, you don't need releases.
I love the picture of the
Jumping
boy
up to
throwing.
make that throw.
Yeah,
He's all in.
yeah. Great moment of action.
Perfect
Mhm.
moment, yeah.
Well, one of the things that this editor and owner asked me to do is to focus in on the people. And she's only recently been pushing more toward food. So I didn't have very many food.
Okay, you're forgiven
Thank
for
you.
corn
Yeah.
dogs, but you know,
Corn dogs.
Next year.
Well, next year you can do all food.
yeah, funnel
Yeah.
cake.
Cotton candy. Woo.
Oh, yes. And there's some good people that are in this Butler. A lot of these are the Butler Amusement, which is out of Fairfield. And unfortunately, they've been shut down this year, and then it was going to be their 50th anniversary.
Uh-oh.
So hopefully we'll be able to pick that up next year.
Well, I really like your haywire shot because you captured that action and that goes so fast when it comes towards you. You know, one of the favorite rides when I was a kid, you know, but getting that nice and sharp with a movement like that, I don't know how you pulled it off, but it really worked good.
You don't want to be the little guy on the outside of that.
No. So I always love to be the inside and squash a guy there. Yeah.
Gary, this explains everything.
Actually, it's done with burst. So
Oh,
I've got the
I see.
camera in burst
Oh,
mode, and
good.
so I'll shoot when I get done with a carnival. I'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,500 images.
Woo.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that's what it takes. Good work, Tim.
Thank you.
Mm.
Get that action like that.
And I did catch these two in different positions, with the larger one on the inside very definitely squishing his little
Yeah.
friend on the outside, but it wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody wasn't thinking when they got on that ride.
yep.
Very
guy
fun,
with-
Tim.
The guy with the turkey leg, I asked him if he didn't mind, and he said, no, heavens no. And I got probably 30 or 40 pictures of him in various positions and mouth open and tongue out and so on. And this one was maybe the more reserved of them.
A reserved turkey leg shot.
By the way, hungry is spelled wrong.
Yes,
Yeah.
the difference between a country and the act of
That's the country, yeah.
You got it.
satisfying your hunger, yes. But thank you for pointing that out, Steve. That was,
I'm Germany, he's Hungary.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a fun project to finally put together. I rarely, as you probably know, I rarely include any of these in any of the competitions.
But you could.
I could.
Nice
I
job.
just see it as
First one,
somewhat,
You
I
had
see it as
almost,
some,
almost in the first one.
I almost see this as a conflict of interest because these are ones that go into a magazine and they have a specific role for that.
Oh,
I don't see a conflict.
I don't either.
Can we see the second one again?
Oh, yeah, with their hair up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hair is wonderful.
Everyone
Siblings.
enjoys the fly.
That is cool.
This is actually up in Humboldt County. This is the Anderson Valley Fair, and they are all related.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many times those butts have hit those worn off spots? You know,
I know, look, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Look how tiny those slides are.
This is a fair company that isn't around very much, and I don't think they have a lot of money. They've been doing this fair since 1926.
wow.
So they've been at this fair consistently, but they don't do many more within the Bay Area. And this is a tough location to get to, coming down on those high roads and coming down. And they did say that they've lost some brakes and damaged one ride coming in this last year. So it's interesting dealing with the carnival.
Now that was in
people.
Boonville, or where was that
In
again?
Boonville, yeah. in
Oh, yeah,
Boonville.
yeah, yeah. They have a nice
Boonville.
rodeo too.
They do, and it's right
Yeah, I
at the
did some
same
nice
time.
rodeo shots there once.
Yep,
Very good, Tim.
thank you. Appreciate
Great
all the
job.
input.
Yeah, that was
Nice.
great, Jim.
And I did have a lot of input from a lot of different people. So,
Next summer, right?
And so, 3 hours, very good. I think we paced it very nicely.
Great
Very
job,
nice
Steve.
job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
you.
all y'all.
And thanks everyone for the portfolio. Yeah, the portfolios were
Yeah.
great. Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, we should do this again next year beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
put on
God.
my thinking
Great
cap and do
idea.
it next year.
Do one.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Yeah, and enjoy
Good
yourself.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Next time.
Good night.
Tom, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
This is great. Thanks
Great.
a lot.
Excellent.
What's the
Thank you.
website?